All right, y'all. It is finally my pleasure to introduce our special guest, Dorothy Graden. Wonderfully talented artist, painter. You've traveled the world for your art. You're so inspiring, Dorothy. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
All the way from Valparaiso.
All the way from Valparaiso.
3-hour trip.
Yes, thank you so much.
Digging deep.
The Loopers are going to love this. We love seeing these talented artists and everything that they put out. And your art comes from a place of passion because you travel the world, right? And so you're bringing awareness and appreciation of ancient art, right?
Yes. And preservation of it, for sure.
Right. The preservation is key, right? Because it could just be crumbled so easily, I'm sure, if you're not careful and stuff. So these things that were carved, pecked and painted on the rocks and canyon walls in North America, you find inspiration from.
I do. And I don't copy it. I look at it and photograph it and come home and go back to that place in my head and work to recreate the atmosphere and the feeling that I had when I was at the spot.
These are really cool.
It's really amazing.
Oh, yes,
where are these at? Are these all from the same? These photos, are they all from the same place? Or
no? These photos go. I mean, I've hiked everywhere from the Rio Grande River all the way up into all the states, all the way to central Montana.
Wow!
And so these, as you can see, these are different styles of art.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it depends on the geography, the culture, the time period, and sometimes things are packed on top of other things that are packed.
Oh wow!
And,
like layers, like
layers
behind it,
layers and layers,
like onions.
Wow!
Yeah. So I recreate the layers in my art.
Yes.
And so they used blood and minerals and plants and fat.
Blood in like a ritualistic kind of way?
No,
or
to paint.
To paint.
No, well, I know, but like as a result of like a blood ritual, or they're just kind of opening their own. Well, I mean,
that's
I don't know.
that was what they had to paint back then, right? That's all they had to paint: clay, rock, and blood.
Yeah, they used those materials to do the painting.
Yeah,
and then who knows what they did after they painted it? I mean, some of them are 11,000 years old. You know, so and then people came by 8,000 years ago and painted on top of the 11,000-year-old ones.
Right.
And so we don't really know. The layers. So we don't really know what they mean now today.
So it's literally fossils that you're creating, that is your inspiration.
There is my inspiration. I put myself back in that spot and just imagine what it would have been like to live at that time period. With little kids running around and throwing rocks off of the mesas,
Yes. See, that's where my mind went to, is just what was going on when these paintings, these ancient historical paintings, were being like painted or whatever, with whatever things they had, like rock, clay, like you said, like fat from animals, whatever they had, because they didn't have the paintbrushes, they made it from like hairs of a walrus or something, know what I mean? Like, who knows? So that's so interesting.
They did, and they pecked too. I mean, some of the paintings are pecked.
And that's like a little chisel, like chip.
Yes. And so it must have taken months to peck some of those pieces.
Is there a good spot so I'm here on your website, is there a good spot to see more photos than on the home page of the actual photos of like the rock, the rocks? Rock paintings. Of
the original paintings?
Yeah.
Go to just go if you like petroglyphs, I guess. No, I don't put a lot of real petroglyphs on my art page.
Yeah. Keep it your original stuff.
Just my original stuff.
I mean, look at these. I mean, these are just the categories. You've got so much on
They'll
here.
have to travel out if they want to see that. Listen.
DorothyGraden.com.
Yeah, there's
Dorothy
just
Graden.
so much.
And we can follow you on all the things: Instagram, Facebook, Dorothy Graden. Your website's DorothyGraden.com, and you're selling your pieces as well on this website. So everybody needs to make sure that they check out DorothyGraden.com. But I just think your work is so amazing that it's inspired by such not biblical, but just like historical things. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, just the historical core of it, and it's so cool how that inspires you, and that inspires me that it inspires you. And it's super cool that I'm inspired.
Whoa, it's contagious.
And you've been given, not only are you just a wonderful artist, painter, and so passionate about what you do, but you've been giving lectures all over Indiana, Chicago, Russia, Ireland, Austria, and big college campuses and stuff. How is that?
Oh, it's so
just
much
people
fun.
listening to your experiences.
World traveler.
Yes, world traveler.
Yeah, when I gave the talk in Russia, there were a lot of people from Siberia there, and they had traveled in, and they, after I gave the talk and they saw all the photographs that I had been taking for all those years, they came up to me afterwards and said, "We have those exact images in Siberia."
Wow.
And they're like, "Why is this happening? Why do we see the same
like patterns
images
in different continents or whatever?"
Yeah, images of people and anthropomorphs and all kinds of animals on the walls, and they said they see the same thing. And Russia or Siberia used to be connected to Alaska, right?
Oh yeah.
And so that was one of the migration patterns. So I'm thinking, well, maybe that's why. I don't know.
That is so dang interesting, and it kind of makes you feel like maybe we are all connected somehow, some way, which I do believe we are, all of us, living or dead. It's like we're all kind of connected. And so just to go back however many thousands of years and to see like where the art and the people had migrated, and I'm sure it's all over the world too. As you keep traveling, I bet you'll see that connection.
Oh,
right?
They're everywhere. I was in Spain last month and went to a rock art museum.
Ooh, that's up your alley.
Yeah, it was. It was in this tiny little town,
Yes.
we drove to, and the museum guy took us up to see the rock art.
You're like, you don't know how much this means to me, guy.
No, he had no idea. He had no idea how much I was just like crazy.
Yes. What was it like? Did it have like a bunch of ancient rocks?
It was
painted. Painted art.
They were
on
painted
rocks?
figures, and there was this one figure called the beekeeper.
Okay.
And it looked like somebody taking honey out of a hive, and it was painted. It was it was awesome.
And it was old, I'm sure.
He said 6,000 years old.
Lord have mercy. That is so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, just to think of our ancestors and what, just how far we've come as a civilization and stuff. But it's so cool to honor our ancestors and what they have done in their art and stuff. And it's so cool.
It really is. Yeah. I travel with a Hopi woman who's a good friend of mine, and she lives on the Hopi Reservation in Arizona.
Okay.
And sometimes she interprets the art for me because those are her ancestors.
Right.
And some of the images they're still using on the reservation.
Yeah.
And some of the images she won't tell me anything about because they're still using them in ceremony,
She said this is non-disclosure agreement.
No, she just says, "I'm not going to tell you."
You're like, "Please, I'll make you lunch. Tell me things." That's cool.
I'll put up the tent. I'll put up the tent.
I'll put it up. I'll do whatever. Come on. Get us a fire going.
On your Instagram here, where is this? This is so beautiful.
Oh, I love that.
Oh,
Japan.
No,
Taiwan.
Korea, South
Korea.
Korea.
Oh, that was my third guess.
Yeah. That was in an area that was
it says right there.
a very historic area in Gyeongju, where they have these mounds they're prehistoric mounds where they buried their royalty.
Right.
And some of the mounds are as big as a football field.
Really?
Yeah. And it was just down the way from that photograph that I took.
Can you imagine the just historical figures that are buried in there and stuff?
I know they had one mound that was open, and you could go into it and you could see the layers. I'm really into layers right now, because layers of time and layers of ground and layers of ocean and layers of people.
Yeah.
And you could see the layers inside of the mound, and it was really, really
And I know
neat.
you're wondering, what is the bottom layer? What's underneath these layers? Because like you said, they're painting over them over thousands of years and stuff. So to get to have you ever gotten to the bottom of a layer? Like, I don't know. I know you can't chisel it because that would be
the center of a Tootsie Pop.
Right. Like, if you knew,
right.
if you knew an art was like a layer and there was something behind it, I would be like, oh man, I would want to chisel and fine. But you can't like destroy it. But
you can't even touch it.
You can't. I'm sure.
No, because
they're
the oils in your hand can ruin them.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It is like very yeah, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Okay.
About that.
All right. The time goes by so fast.
No!
We are on a strict 28 minutes and 30 seconds for the TV broadcast. We're going to stay live here on this Wednesday night. It's a great reason to tune in to our live streams on Wednesdays to see extended conversations. Dorothy's going to stick around with us for a little bit longer. We're going to look at our giveaway and see if we got another winner this week. We gave the card, District Tap card, $50 gift card away last week. So maybe we hit another 100 people, this week. So
Right.
we're going to say good night to the ABC broadcast. Renee, take us out.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Dorothy Graden. We
Thank
appreciate you. You are wonderful, so talented, and I want to encourage everyone to go to dorothygraden.com, check her out on Facebook, Instagram, and all the things, and purchase some artwork, right? It'd be perfect little piece for your living room or wherever. You're so talented, Dorothy. Thank you so much for coming on
Thank
the
you, Renee.
show.
I loved being here.
Thank you. We love learning from you. That is so interesting. Gosh, I love historic stuff. I love it.
Gosh.
We just have to preserve it, right?
That's the key. No human oils on this stuff. Listen.
Shelby Kelly, thank you for liking the stream. We appreciate you.
Yes, thank
we'll give
you
a little
to
shout
our-
out before we sign off. but-
Yes, thank you to our comments and our viewers. And everybody, we will see you next week. We might have a very special Hollywood guest next week. We're still waiting on that confirmation.
I'm not kidding when I say it would be our biggest guest on of either season of the In the Loop TV show. So I'm hoping we're working things out.
And one of my favorite.
Don't give anything.
Ooh,
Don't you dare! Don't you dare do it!
I'm so excited.
You wave to the ABC broadcast right now.
Hopefully next week we'll have them. And thank you again, Dorothy Graden. You're so wonderful. We'll see y'all next week in the Loop TV.
Goodbye,
Thank you guys.
WITV.
Bye.
All right, there we go. There's our soft cut. So we're gonna hang out a little bit longer. I'm gonna check.
Now we can relax, Dorothy.
That's right. It was so stuffy in here. You could cut the tension with a knife.
No, I really do. I adore that. That you're just. I mean, history is so cool. It was never one of my finest subjects because I'm a dingbat, but I always was intrigued by it. I was intrigued by it, and so to meet people and see artists like yourself that is really influenced by history and just the history of like our world and stuff, that is so cool. And it's not just history. We're talking about like the first histories. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. That's where I am. I'm more into prehistory than
yes,
history.
like it's like before the people.
The mystery of it.
The mystery of the history.
Yeah, the mystery of it.
Whoa. That just blew my mind. That's
You
gotta
can
be-
call me
that's
Ren
like-
Ren
that's got-
Ren
that's-
Enemem.
That's got to be like a book or a song or something.
The mystery of history.
The mystery of history. I love
I
that.
like the mystery of prehistory.
That's what you need. You should write a book
Yeah.
called The Mystery of
Now
Prehistory.
you're just
Oh, my
you're just
gosh.
adding syllables.
Well, it's not just history we're talking about because it's prehistory. So, it's like before all of that, like the starting of it.
You have
It is. It's
5
so cool.
minutes.
It is. It's because you look at those things and you think, what does it mean? You know? I mean, it's like playing telephone for 11,000 years.
It's crazy.
You know?
Yeah, and
What
the
does
fact
it, you know?
We
Yeah,
we just got some laughs from the live studio audience back there.
live studio guest. Yeah, I find it so interesting, and just the fact that you have some trusted friends and people and that you can talk to, and so, like what do you people that really are probably just do that professionally, like historians or whatever, and you're like, tell me about this so I can use it for my inspiration and stuff, so you can kind of, because you can see it, and I'm sure you know more than anyone about this stuff, but to get an expert's opinion on it, then you can really be like, okay, now I'm gonna take what I know, what I've seen, and what I know, and then make this art with it, right? It's like all the things to make what you make.
It's very intuitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
because
cool.
it's like when I do my art, I have this grand idea, right, at the beginning, and then I get about a third of the way through it and I think, I have no idea what I'm doing.
It changes.
And my one friend said, she's an artist, she said, Dorothy, you're in process. Just keep telling yourself you're in process.
I really
Aren't we all?
I respect painters and artists, because it's like, I've tried, I'm actually pretty good at painting, but once I get halfway through, it stresses me out. I'm like, how do I finish this or whatever, and it's all about the different, like, do you use a certain kind of paints and oils like normally, or do you like to switch it up? Like, do you have favorite styles of painting?
Well, I have some paintings that I made my own paper out of cotton rag.
Yeah.
And then I press the cotton rag and then paint it on it.
Pressy.
Pressy, and then dries. And then lately I've been doing a lot of a lot of paintings. My Hopi friend has given
There's
me.
you making paper right there.
She gave me sand from the Hopi reservation.
Really?
Yeah, and she said, I want you to put this in your paintings.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And
So it gives a little grain effect, little sand.
Oh my gosh. Not only that, but it moves the paint.
Makes it kind of three-dimensional in a way.
It does, and it
cool.
tells me where to go next. It's
Yes.
really amazing.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and she said, Dorothy, the ancestors are speaking through you.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, what a compliment is
Yes,
that?
absolutely.
Really?
And then to use the actual sand on your painting,
Yes.
that just makes it like, wow.
It's really exciting.
That's so
And you know,
cool.
it takes me right back to where to the atmosphere of the caves and the atmosphere of the canyons.
Right.
Just takes me right back to that spot. It's
Ooh,
just amazing.
I can't imagine how happy your soul feels when you yourself have traveled there and you're witnessing this beautiful just history right before your eyes.
Right before my eyes. And, you know, I get so excited, you know, because I can see it. We're approaching it from a distance.
You're like, oh my God.
And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God.
We're almost there.
We're almost there. And then my Hopi friend she's like, shh, be quiet. You have to be respectful.
They'll hear you, the ancestors. You're like, okay, let me just calm my soul down for a second.
She spends a lot of time making me be quiet, you know.
You're like, this is hard. I would be like,
That's the way I am.
That's what you want to
and
do.
I start to run to it, you know, and she's like, no, you stop. We have to pray before we go in. So
Just the whole thing.
You know, the whole thing. She takes the, you know, cornmeal and sprinkles it, and we turn around and she says a prayer. We're respectful. We're here to visit.
Right.
We're visiting an ancestral site.
Right.
We're visiting my ancestors, and then we walk in quietly.
That would be hard for me.
and then I settle down. I take a lot of photos, and then sometimes we just sit there for a couple hours.
Just enjoy and take it in.
And take it in.
And I'm
Take
sure
it
that's
in.
important for your pieces that you're making after the fact, because just to sit there and feel that for a minute.
Oh, it's
Kind of makes it, right?
It does. I crave going back. I really crave it. I have to go back at least once a year.
Yes. World
crave it.
traveler, baby. That's so cool. Wow. Have you ever stumbled upon like an ancient historic thing that's not like guarded or like in a canyon or something? I don't know. Like I'm sure
they're all like that.
How do you find these places? Do you just have to do a lot of research?
A lot of research. I have a friend that's a ranger, and he lives in El Paso, and he knows all the sites around
wow.
El Paso.
Ooh, that's a good little insight right there.
it
You got
is.
it. Like who you know helps, right? With anything.
That's
With
right.
anything.
Yeah, I mean, he took me to a cave that was just like 20 miles from the Mexican border, right outside of El Paso, and we had to get on our backs to crawl inside of the cave.
Oh, I'm out. Dorothy, I'm out.
And the whole inside, the whole ceiling was black from soot from all the years they had been putting fires. They had been making fires in there for the past 3,000 years.
Right.
And so what the people did is they carved into the black into the white. Because the wall was white and the ceiling was all black, and so they carved the whole ceiling, and it looked like a night sky.
Oh, wow.
And then across the whole entire ceiling was this gigantic centipede carved in the middle, and the centipede was gigantic, and it's been interpreted as the Milky Way. That's what they say it. That's what I've heard.
I got goosebumps. That
And
is so
I mean,
cool.
I just get goosebumps thinking about it. I couldn't get a photograph of the whole entire thing because it was so big. So
Yes.
I just stayed on my back and just kept taking more and more pictures and more pictures and scooting along, you know.
Wow, I can't imagine being in such a historic spot like that. Like I've never really experienced that, where it's like history all around you.
Yeah, it just stays with me. You know, sometimes I'm trying to fall asleep at night and I picture being inside that cave with
You
all
just
that.
staying awake and you're like, oh yes.
I want to go back. I want to go back.
Oh, that is so fun.
Thank you, James Hill, for liking the stream. Indiana Filmmakers Network has liked it as well. So thank you so much
Yes.
for your support and your shares and your likes and all that. So the contest for the District Tat $50 giveaway for this week has ended. We gave away a card last week, so congratulations to Alex Duncan. So I'm going to restart the giveaway for next week, so you'll have another opportunity to do that. We're only at 24 entries right now, so share it with your friends and family.
Yeah.
I'm making you guys get up to 100 entries. Gonna make it work for that free $50 gift card. So share it around, and maybe we'll give away another one next week.
Yeah.
In the loop.tv.
The district tap is great. There's so many,
awesome.
Lots of great food, great drinks, all the things. So yeah, the in the loop.tv, click on the giveaways tab.
Look at all these gift cards. These are all preloaded with $50. Look, it is legit.
Yeah, Jason will stamp it out to you. Send it out.
Stamp it out. Oh yeah, stamp it out.
You know what I meant.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Dorothy. You've been incredible. You are just so inspiring. Like I said, I'm inspired by your inspiration. I mean, it's so cool just to hear from someone that really loves the history, and it's not like you're just, I don't know, like some painters, they paint and that's cool and that's great. And I love all art, but you're coming from a place of like historic passion. Like this drives you. And that's so intriguing to me.
It does. It comes from the heart. And I was listening to the musician, the way he was talking about the music has to come from your heart.
Exactly.
And I thought, this is exactly what I do.
Yes. Actually, when he said that, I thought the same thing. I thought that's the same thing with you. Like, what do you say about vulnerability, right? Like, you have to be vulnerable to do something like this. Kind of put your heart out there on the line.
Yeah, you really do. And it gets a little scary sometimes.
Right. I mean, because vulnerability is scary because you're just exposing your soul to the world, right? But this is stuff that you've gone and seen and just traveled around to do all of this, to get all of this stuff in your head to make this. Like, that is so cool. Like, you're not just painting, you're grasping from some really cool stuff that is just, man, goes back generations and generations.
It does.
right?
And it stays in me too. It's not something that just disappears when I'm done.
Yeah, it's just all the time. That is so cool. And you're giving these big lectures at these college facilities and all these things all over the world. Like, that is so cool. I would love to hear. I know you had one in Chicago recently, in Indiana. So next time, I'm sure it'll be on your website. We're gonna come see you and learn about it.
I have that video. I forgot about that. Let me pull that up.
Yeah.
I mean, you can keep
the
talking.
one from Chicago. Yeah, it's there now. It'll be there till July 7th.
Okay, got it.
And it's in the Cultural Center, which is on the corner of Michigan Avenue and Randolph Street.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that is so cool. And I'm sure all the people listening to your lectures and stuff were just like, yes, right? Because it's very interesting, and you don't get to talk about this type of stuff very much, except for like when you're in high school in history class, and then you're just not really listening, right? But this
Right.
this is different. Like this, you've turned this into art. Like it's and look at that. It's so beautiful.
So where is this at then? This is the Chicago?
Chicago Cultural Center, on the corner of Randolph and Michigan Avenue.
Ooh, that is so fun. And was that fun for you, just talking about it?
Oh my gosh, I love talking about. I gave an artist talk with a slide presentation. Let's see, about a couple weeks ago, and the questions people ask are just so interesting. I love answering them.
Yeah, like what kind of questions did you get that were just like, whoa? I mean, just probably like, where did this come? Like, just the history behind all of it and stuff.
And one guy wanted to know if he could visit some of the sites, and I gave him some information on that. And then there was a woman that said, well, what did they make the original, what did they use? What kind of materials? And we talked about blood and that. And what I think is super interesting is the fact that they needed that animal fat to survive, because they were small clans. They weren't tribes. They were small clans of maybe 10 to 15 people.
Right.
And to use the fat that they needed to survive for their art.
Right. Like they're sacrificing because they needed to survive, but they're sacrificing that to use for art.
Yes,
so exactly. It was obviously very important to them.
Very, very
because
important.
Because they needed that to survive, but they instead put it towards, or some of it put some of it towards art.
Exactly.
Cool.
So it was animal blood. I think.
Yes.
I don't think.
Well, we don't know.
Probably animal.
Okay.
blood.
So I thought. I mean, there were some crazy times back then. So when I asked about like the ritualistic, like, I mean, did they sacrifice somebody and then they used their blood? Was it that dark or?
Well, maybe, but we don't. Really
we don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't.
Now
know.
we don't feel so silly.
But
No,
honestly,
that's not a silly question at all. I mean, but there was.
They got wacky back then.
There was a lot of stuff going on back then.
honestly, probably was some sacrificial stuff going on,
boy.
and that was fine with them, right? And that's kind of what makes it the art, right? It's like we don't really know what had happened. I mean, it would be cool if you could.
What had happened was.
I mean, it'd be cool if you could get like, I don't know, like, you know how some like the cop people, they like will swab it and be like, this blood is this. You know what I mean? Like, that'd be interesting for you if you could find out what is inside of this stuff,
forensics?
Right? Yeah, like the forensics.
Do the DNA and stuff like that.
Yeah. Have you ever been curious about that? Like, what exactly are they making? Because you can know generally, but how could we know, right?
Exactly. We don't really know. I mean, yeah.
And that's kind of what's making
11,000 years ago, really.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's cool. It leaves it open for interpretation, for your art, and just for your mind. Like, and that's probably what keeps you up at night too. Like, where, and that's so cool just to think about stuff like where did it come from? What is this? Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. What did it sound like to be there?
Yeah. When they're
grinding the grains and what the sounds they were making, what did their language sound like?
Right.
I don't know.
Have you ever been in well, I'm sure that you have.
Renee makes those noises when she's hungry.
Hungry. I'm hangry.
Chicken nugget.
I'm hangry like always. But have you ever I'm sure you have. You've been into these historic caves and stuff. Have you just imagined? I don't know how to explain. Have you imagined right where you're standing, what they were doing? They were standing right where you were standing, but thousands of years ago. And just like you said, what have they been doing? What were they sounding like? What were they speaking? What did it sound like for them to make this art?
If those walls could talk.
That's why I like to think about that.
That's why I like to sit there, not just take photos and leave.
Yes.
I like to sit there and take it all in.
The space.
Yes.
Yeah, be in the space.
Because if you sit there, you can kind of just close your eyes and be like, they were there right where you were making that, and so you can just almost feel them walking around you and doing all that. And like you said, the kids and it's just crazy.
Yes,
think about that.
It is. And a lot of times my Hopi friend will just sit. I mean, she just goes off to a corner and will just sit by herself for a couple hours.
She really, just
to communicate. It. Yeah, she really feels the ancestors.
That is awesome.
She really feels them.
That is such a cool inspiration, and gosh, your work is so wonderful. I love it, Dorothy. You're incredible. And so you can find your art at dorothygraden.com.
Yes.
And we can purchase it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have prints and cards and originals. Yeah.
That would be hard for me to sell the originals. I always respect people that sell originals. It's
that's so funny.
That's the original.
I know, and they're like my babies. and every time I sell one, I'm like, oh, there it goes.
Au revoir. Au revoir.
I would be so stingy with my originals. I'd be like, this is 10,000. But you can have the print for $300-400. It's fine. I give you the print, I guess.
Or how about a card?
Yes, a card, whatever. But I don't know about my originals. That I would be so selfish about that. I don't know, because it's just, but that's a true artist that you make this for. It's for you, but it's for people as well. So it's so selling that art, I think, is so wonderful. And I know so many people would just love this. And I know all of our viewers are going to check you out.
Well, I hope so.
They better.
All the way from Valparaiso, Indiana. Thank you so much, Dorothy Graden, for coming on the show. You're wonderful. And again, check out dorothygraden.com, Dorothy Graden on Facebook, Instagram, all the things.
Facebook.
Your art is wonderful.
Instagram.
World traveler. Wow.
Awesome. It's been so much fun. I'm just happy to be here. This is great.
Thank you. We appreciate you, and we love your work, and we love you, Dorothy. And yes, just thank you. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
Drove 3 hours.
And Jason,
what a trooper.
Yes, 3 hours. Wow. And Jason, Aaron, thank you for everything you do. Thank you for ABC for having us.
Thank you, Renee,
love
for
you
everything
guys.
you do.
Thank you. Thank you, me. You're welcome. Hair flip. No, I joke. Thank you to our in-studio guest.
Come back again.
Yes. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. And thanks again, Dorothy Graden. We appreciate you and all of our viewers, loopers. We love you guys. We'll see you next week. We have a really cool episode next week, hopefully.
Or it'll be like an average episode, but it could be really cool. So
could have a Hollywood guest on here.
Right.
Is gonna
Keep
be
an
cool.
eye on our Facebook page. That's where the events are, and we send out a bunch of invites.
Yes.
So we appreciate everyone's support. Like and share and follow and everything on all of our social medias.
Yes. All
Ooh, I think I have a button for that. Let me. Ooh, how about this one? There you go. There's their social medias: YouTube,
Lower third
Twitter,
graphic.
Well, this wasn't lower third. Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. There you go.
All right, cool. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much. We'll be back.
Goodbye
Bye,
again.
y'all.
For real.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Thank you.
Live stream Wednesday at 7, midnight Saturday on ABC, 24/7 inside Indianapolis hotels and on all podcast platforms.